Hi there, good noon and a very warm welcome to our session on CMAT. I know a lot of you were waiting with this bated breath, with a lot of eagerness for the CMAT exam to happen. Well, here we are. And because the exam is happening, we have also decided to, of course, start our series where we go on and help you with your last minute preparation, your last minute push. So I welcome you to BYJU'S Exam Prep channel dedicated to your success as an MBA aspirant. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. That will also mean that you'll be able to participate in this session through the comment box by sharing your answers. And at the same time, while you are at it, do press the bell icon so that you do not miss out on any of these sessions that we bring to you. My name is Vikrant. I am your personal coach for all things related to English and communication. And if you have any question, any concern during the course of this session, make sure that you drop it in the comment box down below. I am sorry, the power has gone out at my place, so I am a little dark, but give it a minute, it will come back in and I will be able to join you in. Yeah. Yes, if you look at how many sessions we've had for CMAT, you'd see that there are plenty of these that have been conducted on this channel. So all that you do is CMAT BYJU'S Exam Prep. Search for it on YouTube and you'd find tons and tons of sessions that will level up your preparation. And until then, of course, by the time the exam happens, we are also going to conduct more such sessions. And once again, there is a temporary problem with the electricity, with the power at my place. So my video is not visible to you, but I'm very much there. Vaidehi, let's keep our fingers crossed. And it is back. I've managed to fix it. So there we go. But I am on power backup, it seems, and the light is flickering a little, but it's okay. I think we can still go ahead and work with each other without any hassles. When I think in all probability we should expect this to happen on 23rd or the 30th of April. Right, last year it was around 9th April. So, any other question, any other concern that you have? Okay, so before we start with a practice, before we get into the 100 most expected CMAT language questions, here are a couple of key things that I believe will be useful for you. First up, the overview of the exam itself. So it's going to be a 180-minute exam that happens to have 100 questions spread over 5 sections with 20 questions in each section, and here is the marking scheme. So until 2020, they used to have just 4 sections with 25 questions each. Then they introduced a section last year, but then it was supposed to be a separate section. This year it has been made mandatory and has been absorbed as a part of the exam structure. Okay, and if I look at specifically language comprehension, or English as we normally call it, there are different question types that get asked in the exam. So obviously you have vocabulary based questions, grammar based questions, reading comprehension, and para-jumbles. In fact, if I look at the paper pattern last year, the exam that was conducted on 9th of April, we had 20 questions in the English section. Out of these 20, 4 happened to be reading comprehension. So there was just one passage. A year before that, in CMAT 21, we had 4 passages. But last year we had only 1 passage followed by 4 questions. It was fairly easy. And then we had a lot of vocabulary based questions. So within vocabulary based questions, we were being asked questions on synonyms, antonyms, fill in the blank, one word substitution, spelling, analogy, phrasal verb. If I go back, we'd also have had questions on idioms, right? So a pretty exhaustive, pretty largish focus on vocabulary with a lot of different question types that get asked. And then we had these grammar questions where the major focus was on error identification, but then you also had these direct indirect speech questions. Some 2-3 years ago, they gave us active passive voice based questions as well. So this is the dimension that you need to be prepared for, and do not be surprised if you see very less of reading comprehension and a whole lot of vocabulary based questions. Ruturaj, the admit card can be downloaded from the website. I think it was available 3-4 days ago, if I am correct. I did not apply to CMAT this year, so I don't have that first-hand information. But if there is somebody from the team watching, listening, could you just oh, could you please update Ruturaj on the status of the admit card? I think they are available on the website. Okay, so this session will focus on all of these varieties. I am not focusing on reading comprehension today because we've generally had adequate practice of reading comprehension on this channel. So it's the other areas that I want you to get introduced to. So let us get started with your first question. Darshan, are there words that get repeated? Not really. I mean, I'll tell you the problem. When you talk about CMAT, every year, if it happens, let us say in 2 slots or 1 slot, you're talking about what? Around, when it comes to vocabulary, you're talking about, okay, I'm being liberal, 15 to 30 vocabulary based questions. Right. So all in all, these 15 to 30 vocabulary based questions will have what, around 50 to 110 words. Right. So even if I go back by 5 years, we are talking about around 250 to 550 words being used. The sample size is too small to figure out if there are words that are getting repeated. Right. And therefore, I'd not really be very optimistic of this. But anyhow, let us get started. So here is your first question. Let's read the directions together. You have been given a sentence. The sentence is divided into 4 parts. One of these 4 parts happens to have a grammatical error. You need to figure out that part and mark that part, the letter corresponding to that part, as your answer to this particular question. And here is your timer on the screen. Let's get cracking. Okay, so I know that 30 seconds are a bit of a challenge when it comes to solving a grammar-based question, but here it is. My answer for this particular question is going to be option D. And why am I choosing option D? You look at this verb prevent. Prevent is not followed by to. Prevent is followed by the preposition from. So this is a question that tested your understanding of prepositions, particularly something called dependent or fixed prepositions. Now, why have I picked up prepositions? Over the last few years, we have seen that when it comes to grammar, there is some emphasis on questions that are based on prepositions, and therefore you should be ready for such scenarios, such situations. So Darshan, Ritik, absolutely correct, absolutely spot on. And with that, let's dive into our next question. Question number 2, on your screen, the exact same thing, right? And your time starts now. Okay, those of you who are still thinking, let me tell you that the error here belongs to this category called split infinitive. So what is an infinitive? To plus verbs first form, used as a noun, normally a noun, but it can also be occasionally used as an adjective or an adverb, although these are rare. So you can just focus on this. To plus verbs first form used as a noun is known as infinitive. Now split infinitive basically is this to and the verb's first form. They should always come together. We are not supposed to insert anything else in between these two things. So for instance, I'd say, I asked my friend to quickly open the gate. So you notice to and open are split using quickly. That is wrong. We should say, I asked my friend to open the door quickly, to open the gate quickly. Right? So we are not supposed to split the infinitives. It is one of those quirky little rules that we need to be mindful of. And in this sentence, part B happens to have a split infinitive where we have inserted a not between the to and the verb. Okay, and that is what is wrong, and that is why our answer here should be B. And I think Darshan has definitely managed to spot it, and I'm sure I have managed to put a spotlight on this particular error. And the next time around when you look at a sentence, this is one of those errors that you can hopefully be a little more mindful of. Okay, the next question, question number 3 on your screen once again, grammar, and your time starts now. And our time is up. This sentence basically happens to have an issue where the wrong part of speech has been used in the sentence. So I just want to highlight one particular word, and the word is advice. Now, advice with a C happens to be a noun. But in this sentence, this is a place where we need a verb, and as a verb, it is not spelt with a C, it is spelt with an S. So this is a verb. So what we needed was advice with an S, not advice with a C, and that is why the problem here is with part B. So there you go. That's our answer. Remember, this is something that does happen with some other words as well. Practice, CE or SE. CE is a noun, SE is a verb. So such things. So B it is. Here comes the next question. Question number 4 on your screen, and your time starts now. So once again, you see the hint, there is an issue with the preposition, with a preposition used in this particular sentence. And you're absolutely right. The answer should be C. Depending is not followed by at. Depending is followed by on or upon. And that is why we need to put one of these two here. So C it is, but I think all of you, Darshan, Ritik, Kaustubh, Dhirendra, all of you have managed to get this right. So we can move over from here. Another preposition based question for you. And now question number 5 on your screen, and your time starts now. Okay, so this sentence happens to have a problem with subject verb agreement. More than one. Now, logically, more than one means at least two, but in grammar, when it comes to subject verb agreement, more than one is treated as singular. Okay, it is followed by a singular noun and a singular verb, and therefore, instead of where, what we need here is was. And that is why our answer here is option C. So, get the drift. So, that's about the grammar bit where I asked you for identifying the errors. Now let us move over to this other area where I ask you to get into these voice and narration based things. So here is your question number 6. I have some issue with the way the screen shows at my end. Anyhow, so question number 6 on your screen. Look at the directions, change the voice of the given sentence. So when I say voice, we are talking about this area called active and passive voice. So the given sentence to you, if it is in active voice, change it into passive. If it is in passive, change it into active, and then choose the right answer. I don't have a timer for it in this exercise, in this activity. And therefore, I would want you to work at your own pace. But the moment I receive 3 answers, well, that is the moment at which I will start discussing it. Okay, 3 answers and I will start discussing. I think the moment summers start, we tend to have this problem with electricity, and this time around, chances are that even your reading of a couple of options will get affected. Okay, so I have my first answer from Darshan. Anyone else? I need 2 more answers. Okay, so I have my 3 answers. So see, what do we do in active and passive voice? The subject becomes the object becomes the subject, and you'd always use 2 helping verbs, right? So when it comes to present perfect tense, the passive voice is supposed to have has or have plus been plus the third form of the verb. So option A gets this right. So that's our answer. The problem with option D, the other answer that I've received, is that it has changed the tense. Now, when you go from active voice to passive voice, you do not change the tense. You merely use the passive structure of that tense. Okay. So this was is the part which is wrong. It should have been has been. All right. But moreover, it did not even have those 2 helping verbs. Remember, that was another clue. Okay, next question. Once again, change the voice of the given sentence, and the sentence is, send these books at my new address. What's your answer? Okay, so I have one answer from Ritik. I'm assuming, Ritik, it's an answer to this question. Okay, Darshan has also shared his take. One more answer, guys. One more answer. One more person needs to weigh in. And we have another answer from Akash. So see, this is a special type of sentence. These sentences are known as imperative sentences. So imperative sentences are used to issue orders or for requests or for instructions. Now, how do we convert an imperative sentence into passive voice? There are two ways. The first method is where you use let plus your object, and then you follow what you generally follow in passive voices. Or the other one is, let's see, in imperative sentences, the subject is implicit, the subject is hidden. So you use that subject. So you, and the subject here is always you. So you say you are ordered, requested, or instructed to, and then the rest of the sentence is placed as it is. So if I use the second method, I'd say you are ordered or requested or instructed to send these books at my new address. That's one. But I don't see that in the option. So the other one is let these books be sent to my new address, or at my new address. And that is given to us in option A, and therefore that is the one that we will choose. So it is one of those highly formulaic areas. In case you were not very sure of how to approach this, now you know the toolbox. You just need to check how we convert imperative sentences into passive voices. So I've already given you the two ways. Here is a bit of homework for you. There is this special type of sentence through which we make wishes. They're called optative sentences. And then you have this other variety of sentences called exclamatory sentences. These two also create a lot of problem for people, right? So do look into those, and you'd feel a lot more confident. Here is your next question, but this time around, I have asked you to change the narration. So you remember going through something called direct and indirect speech back in your school days, or maybe during your preparation? So direct speech is where you use quote marks to state something as it is that was said to you or that you heard. Okay. Indirect speech is where you remove these quote marks and then make some changes, make some alterations. So here I want you to change the narration. If it is in direct speech, that is, if it has those quote marks, remove them. If it is in indirect speech, convert it into direct speech. So go ahead and tell me what your answer should be. And in case you have any question, I'd be more than happy to weigh in. Okay. So we have our three answers. Let us see. So the correct answer is which one? Indeed, option B, as most of you have picked up. So since all of you have gotten it right, that saves me the time to explain. Let me take you straight over to the next question. Here it is on your screen. And once again, give me three answers if you want me to discuss it. Answers, answers, answers. Okay. So we have one answer from Ritik and Darshan and Riya. So yes. Now in the previous sentence, we changed the tense of the part which was within the quote marks. Okay. But this time around, what you have here is a regular or habitual action. So when it comes to regular or habitual actions, or when it comes to universal truths, we do not change their tense. We always state them using the present indefinite tense. And that is why the right answer here should be option A, as all of you have jotted down. Yash, hopefully the coming weekend or the one after that. Just keep our fingers crossed. Okay, question number 10. Change the narration, but this time around you have a sentence in indirect speech, so you need to introduce quote marks. Change it into direct speech. Yes, one more answer, guys. One more answer. I've had two. So Darshan and Ritik, okay, and Kaustubh has also shared his take. So yes, you guys are absolutely right. The answer is D. The problem with B is you needed not. We don't have any word called needed not, right? Modal auxiliary verbs. Think of those. We don't add that ed, and the there needed to be converted to here, and that is why C is incorrect. So that takes care of our grammar questions. And now let me test you a bit using vocabulary. Ready? So give me the most appropriate synonym of the word intrepid. And your time starts now. Okay, so what is the meaning of the word intrepid? Intrepid basically means somebody who is courageous, somebody who is fearless. And we are looking for what? A synonym. So what is the meaning of the word gallant? What is gallant really? Gallant is somebody who shows no fear of dangerous or difficult things. Looks like a synonym. Cowardly, somebody who is not brave, somebody who avoids danger, somebody who is timid, not darpok. Insecure is somebody who lacks self-confidence or somebody who doubts his own ability. Definitely not a synonym for intrepid. And invisible is impossible to see. It is neither a synonym nor an antonym. So considering the fact that we are looking for a synonym here, our answer should be option A. Gallant and not B. Ritik, yaar, see, if we have to use assumptions, it's a sad situation. We should not be in a position to assume. They should have given us that clarity, but it is better to assume that the exam will be the next weekend than to assume that it will be in the next month. Here is the next question for you on your screen, and your time starts now. 3 answers fast. Yes, you just need to develop or basically become better at vocabulary. The more words you know, the more likely you are to answer these questions correctly. And as far as practice goes, I will share some things with you towards the end. Answer. So what do we mean by fastidious? So let us see. When fastidious came into English, it came from Latin. And in Latin, this word basically meant something like arrogant or disgusting. But then when it came to English, the word changed. It changed into what? Nowadays it refers to people who are, so if you say he's a fastidious person, you're saying that he's very meticulous, no, who gives attention to detail. That person is somebody who's very difficult to please. That person is going to be very difficult to work with because that person has a very demanding or precise attitude. So meticulous people are people who know that particular area really very well, and therefore they are demanding or precise and difficult to please. Now, what are we looking for here? We are looking for an antonym. So somebody who is easy to please or somebody who does not give attention to detail. So which word should that be? That word, I think without a doubt, is going to be option D, careless, because careless means what? Not giving sufficient attention, or not thinking through in order to avoid harm or in order to avoid making a mistake. People who don't pay attention or people who don't think. All right, who's fussy? Fussy is a synonym. Fussy is again somebody who is not easily satisfied or pleased. Right. Fussy can also be used for somebody who is worried or careful about unimportant details. Right. Then cognitive. Cognitive is related to the process of thinking or reasoning. This word is an adjective related to thinking or reasoning. So, for example, I can say studies show a connection between exercise and cognitive ability. Right? So cognitive ability is ability related to thinking or reasoning. And promising, I think, is a word that we all know. Promising simply means something that shows signs that it is going to be successful or enjoyable. So if a movie appears to be a promising movie, you believe that it is going to be a good movie or it will become a successful movie. So that's how it really rolls. Okay, but our answer here is going to be D. And with that, let me take you over to your next question. This time around, I have given you once again synonym, but these questions are called contextual synonyms or contextual antonym questions. Why? Because in these sentences, you are given that word as part of a sentence, making it a tad bit easier. So your time for this question starts now. Yeah, I thought it will not take you that long. Okay, so Kishan, Yash, everybody has given me the answer, and you happen to have given me the correct answer too. So search it is. Yes, it is indeed option A. So basically, quest means a search. What kind of search? A long, arduous search for something that is difficult to find. It can also be used to refer to an attempt to achieve something difficult. And that is why search is a synonym. The other words are, of course, not. Destination is the point at which you want to reach, it's not the search. And therefore, it is A. So, done with synonyms, antonyms related to words. Now, the exam also tests our understanding of idioms. So, here is a question or two based on idioms. So, talking through one's hat, what is the meaning for this? Done. So the correct answer here is option, which one? A. So basically talking through one's hat means to talk about something without understanding what you're talking about. So you see a person who has little or no understanding of some area, some specialized area. If that person still goes ahead and talks about it at length, we'll say that he's talking through his hat. So the closest that we have to that idea is option A, talking nonsense, and therefore that should be the answer. And here is one more idiom based question for you, but this time around I've made it contextual. The Rajput warriors set their face against the invader, and your time starts now. Okay, so when you set your face against something or someone, it basically means that you oppose or resist strongly with determination. Okay, so if I look at this particular set of options, I think it is option D that comes closest to it, and therefore should be our answer. So to resist strongly with determination, to oppose strongly with determination, and therefore it is D. And here is another question that tests your understanding of something similar. It's called an idiomatic expression, but to be more precise, I am going to test your understanding of something called a phrasal verb. So you know what a phrasal verb is? A phrasal verb is a verb along with a preposition used in a sense that is that is not literal. The meaning that is created is completely different. So that's a phrasal verb. Now at an advanced level, you'd realize it can also be a verb plus an adverb. You can have at times more than 2-word phrasal verbs. But right now, let's keep it simple. You have a phrasal verb here, and your job is to figure out the correct answer, and your time has already started. So what's your take? The company has run into a lot of debts. Yup. Absolutely. Man, you guys have been very quick, huh? I don't even need to wait for it. Yes, the answer is A. Run into, just like words, phrasal verbs can also have multiple meanings. One of the meanings of run into is to meet someone by chance, unexpectedly. I ran into an old friend in the market yesterday. Ran into can also mean to collide. So I saw a man who was walking and looking at his phone simultaneously. That man eventually ended up running into a pole. So that's that run into. So incurred. So these are the kind of questions that you can expect in the exam. If you want to become better at these, please make sure that you start rolling out the correct strategy. If you do not, you won't see any improvement. After all, old ways will not open new doors. You want new doors to be opened for you? Make sure that you move over to new ways of doing things as well. And we started this series where you can join us every day and go through the kind of questions that one should expect in CMAT. If you want even more practice, then we have this series called 500 Most Expected CAT Questions. Even that will be useful for you, so you can join there and benefit. And if you want even more practice, because somebody said where to practice from, please download and install BYJU'S Exam Prep app, where you can write a section-wise quiz every day. So what more would you really need? So make sure that you go through that, and then I hope that you become part of this elite group of people who get great scores. BYJU'S has helped them through their comprehensive program. If you know somebody who's preparing for CAT 23, do tell them about it. And you can write a scholarship test and get a huge chunk of fees waived off. It'll be on 29th of April. So if you think this session was useful, it was helpful, please don't forget to like it. And yes, of course, do share and subscribe. So that's it from me today. We'll meet each other very, very soon with another session. And in that session, we'll take up again something which will be highly relevant for you. Until then, I've heard that the COVID cases are increasing once again. So stay safe, stay focused, stay in touch. Okay. Take care and have a great day ahead.